I'm just so curious about this wall, so I keep running, and then it lost, and they call the police. And
Do they know you're here right now?
well, I hope they don't see this podcast.
It's a
Hi, and welcome to the podcast series Making the Most of It. The title of the series basically speaks for itself. This past year has been very challenging and tough for most of us. But within 5 episodes, we're going to share how we can all make the most of 5 different areas of our lives. Socializing and making friends, love and dating, living in Groningen, sustainability and climate change, and also very important, planning your future. We are going to share interesting stories and some tips and tricks how you can make the most of it, even in such times of complete uncertainty. Today, we're going to talk about planning your future. My name is Lara, and I'm from Austria. I'm currently living in Groningen for my master's in international communication. And today, I'm here with 2 new guests. Ahmed, an international living in Groningen.
Thank you.
And Marjolein, our expert of today. Tell us a bit more about yourselves.
All right, so my name is Ahmad Zino, and I'm 21. I'm a cocktail of some countries, and my parents lost me in a few cities, actually, in my life. Yeah, well, I
Tell us
changed
a bit more about that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the thing is, when I used to be a kid, I used to run from my parents a lot. I don't know why. I'm just so curious about this wall, so I keep running, and then it lost, and they call the police, and then the whole
Your poor parents.
city is searching for me. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I was so painful to my parents.
God.
And yeah, so
Do they know you're here right now?
well, I hope they don't see this podcast.
Found him.
It's bad memories.
Back in your home country, you're like one of the missing persons.
Everyone knows me by this thing that you get lost a lot. That's the first thing they know me. Before even my
Wow.
name. Oh, this is the kid. He
It's
always
this
got
one.
lost. Stay away from him or call his parents before he get lost. Yeah.
No, but like, where are you from?
So basically, I'm my parents from Syria and part from Albania, but I was born in Saudi Arabia, and I lived my life in Dubai, in Emirates. And now I'm in Netherlands, so actually I don't know where the hell exactly.
So multicultural.
Yeah, it's kind of multicultural. It has advantages and disadvantages at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's pretty nice. And then I changed my program for 2 times, and now all the way to Netherlands to study about some engineering stuff.
Engineering?
Yeah, and I'm almost done. Hope so.
Cool.
3 years, 1 year left.
Cool. So when did you move here?
I moved 3 years ago.
3 years
Yes,
ago.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's basically it.
And you? Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Marjolein Wiersma, and I work at the International Welcome Center North. Have you guys ever heard of it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Very good.
Yeah.
So it's the expat center of the Northern Netherlands, so for Groningen, Friesland, and Drenthe. And I'm from Groningen. I've lived here most of my life, so to compensate for you,
Yeah.
I'm the boring one, mostly in the same
No,
city.
no.
The real Dutchie.
But I really love international stuff, which is also, of course, why I work for the Welcome Center. And connected to the Welcome Center, I work on a bunch of different international projects here in Groningen and
cool.
in the north. Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Cool.
Pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, since we're talking about planning your future, what are your plans? Like, are you planning on, because you said you're almost done with your studies,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So what are your future plans so far? You want to stay here or go somewhere else?
All right. That question is gonna take a long time.
It's a difficult one, I know.
It's future. So, but to be honest, so far now, my plan is, of course, to finish my study the last year, and then after that, I'm not planning to take master right now. I'm planning first to get into the field work for at least 1 or 2 years in Netherlands, probably, since I took my certificate in here.
Yeah.
And then, after I see the field, how is it? After I find exactly what I want to do at work, then I can go into master and PhD, maybe in a later stage. But so far, it's going to be probably 2 years to 1 year working in Netherlands. Yeah, there are a lot of good job opportunities here for.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Cool. And do you already have like some kind of experience with work or finding a job here, like besides your studies?
Yes, because I'm like right now I'm doing kind of 2 side jobs in here.
Wow.
And yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, it's actually before I came, I just had a shift, and I have a shift after the podcast.
Oh my
It's
God,
crazy.
a busy man.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, it's easier in Groningen, with internationals and in these universities, to know how to find a job and actually get into the field. All you need to do is just go search and ask and look at your network. You can't sit home and But the thing is that, like, I went to some places, I took some hackathons or stuff like that. So how the field, went to some companies, visited them, and so how would working in this field would be, and it was actually great. Like, I feel, I have at least this small basic knowledge that I could find my job when I graduate. I feel.
Well, that's great. So you don't feel like, because some people feel anxious about like finding jobs or planning a future. We actually asked young students who follow ESN on Instagram about whether they feel anxious about this, and 75% said yes, they do. So you seem to be more confident. And
but that's now. Actually, I haven't been like this before. I wasn't all the time. Oh, I'm chilling. The first 2 years was literally, I'm like lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what's gonna be my future. And then Corona came. That was like the biggest thing that just took me all the way down, depressed. I don't know what to do. If I graduate, do I even love my study? It's like this Corona thing. It just have changed everything in my, in my system in life. And
makes it even more difficult,
exactly.
I think.
So I can understand that. Until now, I have some of course things to worry about.
Yeah.
But I feel hopefully I can manage them. Hopefully. Yeah.
You're also in touch with internationals a lot, right? From your experience, what are their challenges, or are they feeling anxious, or what are their perspectives?
Yeah, it's definitely something we hear a lot, that people are scared, of course, finding a job at all for Dutch people, or I guess for anyone. When you're doing your studies, it's clear for you what you got to do. You get your courses laid out for you, but afterwards, it's kind of this black hole, and you have to fill it yourself. So it's an anxious time, I think, for anyone, but especially so for internationals who want to stay in a country where probably they don't yet speak the language.
Indeed.
So this is something we hear a lot. And then on top of that is that people apply the knowledge they have from back home when they're looking for a job, and that doesn't always work so well in a country with a different culture.
I agree.
And I've heard it plenty of times that internationals have been looking for a job for a long time, for a year, just applying.
Yeah.
And they don't get a job, and it's so demotivating, and it makes them feel like there is no place for them here, where of course there is a place for them here.
Yeah.
And I think it's really amazing that somebody has motivation to keep applying for a job for a year, but I hope that through some of the projects that we're doing in Groningen right now, it will be easier for internationals to find out what they can do to make it easier for themselves to find a job.
Yeah.
And to actually have companies from the Northern Netherlands, because that's what we're focusing on, meet these internationals and see that they have a match, because the companies here have jobs and they need people.
Yeah.
And the internationals often want to stay here when they've studied here, when they've graduated here. They like it here. I like it here. That's why I'm still here.
Yeah.
So they want to stay here. And so that's what we're looking to make that match and help people find the right employer or the place where they can do their internship or whatever. Yep. But it's definitely what you say, the anxiety, it's
real.
everywhere.
Yeah, true. But like, you're working with companies, so do you feel like they are also open to employ like not Dutch people, but also for internationals?
It differs a lot. You see that really big companies who do international business, who have international branches, they're often very much more open to internationals, because they, for instance, already have internationals that are, swapping between branches through different countries. And we see that younger companies often start in English right away, especially startups. We have a lot of startups in the Northern Netherlands, especially in Groningen and Friesland, and they see it as kind of like the standard that you're going to start in English, because that's the way that you can hire the most talented people that you're looking for. You're not limiting yourself to just the people from this country. You're opening it up to the internationals who are here and the internationals that aren't yet here but who might want to come and work here.
Exactly.
But there are still plenty of companies that haven't yet made the step. But I'm really excited to hear from you that you're at the end of your studies, you're already like, I'm already seeing the jobs for me. That's really cool to hear.
I hope so. Yeah, it's actually, the thing is, indeed, as you say, that there are many companies right now, they still prefer, like, in a direct way or indirect way, that Dutchies, in general. And you so far understand that if the international guy don't speak English, because the thing is, most of the workers there and the employee, they are speaking Dutch, and, especially in their break time. But still, that's not really a reason to not hire an international person with, with their talent or what they have as expert, just because the language or the nationality is different. So I feel that actually not really fair, and I don't know if there is actually a rule for them. Like, as a company, you should hire anyone that who has actually who is qualified for a job that you are offering. But there is no really someone who's really watching, or is he Dutch or not international. So yeah, I feel that's actually a big thing. And all the companies I have found so far that I could find some opportunities are mostly international.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it is getting better. Through the Welcome Center, I work for a job platform called Make It in the North, where we gather all the jobs from the Northern Netherlands, where you don't need to speak Dutch to apply. And most of those jobs are English language, the job vacancies, but some of them are German, Italian, whatever. But we see an increase. We haven't, the coming period, we're really going to promote this platform, and we're expecting many more companies to know about it and to post their job vacancies. But even without really promoting this, in the last year, we've seen a huge increase in the amount of jobs that companies themselves place there. So, and also if you think, if you see the North, especially Groningen, has just internationalized so fast in the last 15 years or so. And companies are slowly also adapting to that and seeing opportunities in all these internationals that we have here, rather than seeing it as oh no, but then I need to change my whole company culture. I need to do everything in English. Their mindset is slowly changing, and we hope to help them with that by connecting them to all these great internationals
because
who want to stay here. And we're so motivated.
Yeah, I mean, I feel even some companies actually, they're seeing why it's actually useful to hire some international students. And actually, at least, let's say on the level of the city, of the side jobs, now I see most of the side jobs in Groningen are actually for internationals. It works for internationals and Dutchies. It doesn't matter. Because they see, if I hire someone international, first I can get some, maybe he might speak multi-languages, many languages. He might also have more expert, some expert, but back, in his home country, they sometimes actually have some good ideas to implement in his job or something like that. Exactly. So why don't open, the door for all this?
Recently, I've been reading a lot of posts on LinkedIn about how good it would be for more companies to approach also internationals or employ internationals because of all of their challenges they are already dealt with, right? Because it's not easy to adapt to a new culture or to learn a new language, and they develop skills that they can also use for other areas. So I've been seeing this trend also online, in the way how people are talking about it.
It's like sometimes even necessary. I remember once I had a project with different students. So we were half internationals and half Dutch. It was like a project about 5G technology and stuff. So one of the aspects of the project that we have to do some researches about specific country. So the thing is, all of us, we almost know nothing about this country, and researching about it was we didn't find a lot of resources. But one of the guys was from this country, and it literally changed the whole project to something so great that it hit just a big step that we just took.
To get there.
Yeah, exactly, to get there because of these guys. So I feel having internationals from different countries, Europe, Asia, Africa, America, whatever is it's pretty something nice.
Yeah, definitely. By bringing together all those different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
I definitely agree. Talking about different perspectives, let's talk about work mentality, because we also asked ESN followers on Instagram if their work mentality, where they're from, is different from the work mentality in the Netherlands. So if there's a big difference, and 71% said yes, there is a big difference. So I don't know, you're Dutch, you're working here as well. Can you tell us a bit about Dutch work mentality?
Yeah, you probably know.
I know. Sitting here working in those. Yeah, I've heard it from several people from other countries that they really like the Dutch work mentality when they come from countries where they're used to working 60 hours a week and they have no job security. In the Netherlands, if you get an indeterminate contract, I think it's called, you're good. If you get sick, they cannot just fire you. Whereas in some other countries, you know, you can work 60 hours a week and still not be guaranteed that they keep you. They can just lay you off like that.
Yeah.
And I think Dutch people really, or it's like embedded in Dutch culture that Dutch people are, and this is not always appreciated, by the way, but that it's like it's 5 p.m. and work time is over.
Yes,
People
yes.
really value their private life and their private time. And of course, like this is a generalization. This is not the case for every single company. And
Yeah.
you see some of the newer companies, younger startups are like, well, we don't want the 9 to 5 mentality. We don't like that because that's a very Dutch thing. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you start work at 9, you end at 5. And my private life and my work life are really separated. And I think for most of Dutch companies, definitely for like governmental companies, that's the way it is. And that
Yeah.
makes for a very relaxed work-life balance where you're not always expected to have your phone on and be reachable for your boss and suddenly work on the weekend if something's happening. And
Yeah,
that's attractive
yeah. That's
for a
true.
lot of people. Yeah.
How is that where you're from? Like, or from your experience?
It actually depends on the country and on the company a lot, as she said.
Yeah.
It's like whether it's
Yeah,
an
for
international,
sure.
exactly, and what exactly the field of the company. For example, if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
working in a company that work for like produce medicine, it's different than a company that built robots. It's like some of them are really
Definitely.
urgent, and some, like for me at least, I believe if I want to work, there is no one gonna call me, hey, there's a robot, right now, gotta kill someone. Can you please come and fix it? Yeah, it doesn't happen. But if you're gonna work in, let's say, a health field or something, then you're gonna have way more urgent, time. So
Yeah.
I don't know what's the rules in these companies, if you should open your phone all the day, especially on Sunday, or not. I'm not sure. It depends on the company actually, and on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, but it's
Yeah.
not normal in the Netherlands
Yeah, it's
in
not
any
normal.
case.
No,
like
at all.
this is.
It's like Sunday is Sunday. I'm not gonna reply. I'm not gonna send nothing.
Exactly.
On Monday I'm gonna reply.
Yeah,
Even if I'm
exactly.
on my laptop and I saw your email, the
It
rule
doesn't
is the
matter,
rule.
it's the weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's my free time. So good
Yeah.
luck.
See ya.
Yeah. Sometimes I actually respect that, at least for me. Like someone talking to me in the middle of the night, yo, can you help me with this? And then actually, I'm having free time, so I don't
Yeah.
want to reply. And then they understand that without feeling like take it personal or like,
Yeah.
oh, he hates me. And I'm like, okay, that's good. They
Yeah,
didn't
but
feel
it
offended from
differs. Yeah, it differs, of course, per
Exactly.
company. Some companies will be like, "Oh, okay, so you're not really invested in how we're doing as
And
a
you don't
company."
have passion about your work.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
Get out.
Do you even want to work here?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's always companies like that, and there's always employers like that. But if you work in the Netherlands and your employer is like that, there's better ones out there.
Thanks for the tip. Let's talk about something that's very normal in some cultures and an absolute no-go in others. Criticizing your boss. Would you do that, or like how's that from your perspective? Is that something that is okay, or is that something to be like very careful about?
All right.
But I mean not in a mean way, but like
Yes.
criticizing constructively, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is also, again, it depends on the job and your field. Working a side job, working in a job, or what's actually your task in that, it depends. And how is the boss is dealing with me? Like for me, I don't have generalized, method to deal with bosses or the people who they work with me. It depends on, how they are
person.
acting to me. Exactly. If the boss is actually just wants the tasks to be done, and he wants me to, or she wants me to, to do the things that under my responsibility, then I have to do this. But if there are extra things that actually bothering me, then there's another way to deal with it. And of course, in a mean way. That's not a smart method to deal with bosses or anything. You should go always under the rules in a respectful way.
Definitely, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But for example, I have some friends from Eastern Europe, and they even like, for them, it's even rude to criticize to criticize a teacher. So criticizing a boss is
Exactly.
is even like one level up. But
Yeah.
for example, here at university, teachers are asking for feedback, and then some of my friends are sometimes like, "Am I really supposed to say something negative now?"
Yeah, the thing is, I feel like, at least for me, it doesn't matter for me if I criticize the boss or not, but as long as it's not really mean way.
Yeah.
But he is not like, the highest thing, blessed man that I can never talk to him or woman. No, it's fine. You can just, talk to them. I don't like this. I like this. And that's actually something I learned in Netherlands.
Yeah.
Before that, I used,
Yeah.
if he's a boss or she's a boss, then I can't, talk to him or give him feedback
In
or
some
tell
cultures
him
you
no.
can't, yeah.
That's like, yes and yes. But when I came here, wait a second. Actually, the teacher and the boss is not like the highest thing ever. It's not like a president. It's fine. Even the president,
Yeah.
you can actually give feedback.
I feel like it's more informal. Yeah.
It's more formal. Yeah.
You really see, and that's again something I heard from people who worked in other countries such as the US, who come here and they're like, I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with this lack of hierarchy in companies where, you know, it's allowed to just walk into your boss's office and say something. One of the employers that I know who is a Dutch employer but who hires internationals, they created a company guide, and in the company guide they very explicitly stated, like, if you have a question to the boss, you can just ask. You can just walk in, and they have to like keep reminding and encouraging their especially international employees because they're not used to it. But they're even experimenting with like entirely hierarchy-less companies especially in Groningen now, such as Voice, where they try to have like a company without managers, which seems to be working out very well for them. Which of course takes the non-hierarchy to the extreme, but it's definitely the case that in the Netherlands there's a lot of focus on teaching and learning how to give criticism in a good way. I think that's something they also teach at university a lot, at Hanze of course as well. How do you critique and how do you take criticism in a good way?
Not personally. So
exactly.
So you mean like everyone has to be their own bosses? So actually,
not necessarily, but it's not like because somebody is above you in the company, like they're your manager, it doesn't mean that whatever they say is correct, or when they tell you to do something, you have to do it.
All right,
It's more of you're still colleagues, you're still on the same level in that way, and you can still talk with each other about tasks, and you can always still disagree as long what you just said, as long as it's respectful and as long as you're not an asshole about it.
Which in the Dutch one would think asshole.
I think it takes a lot of courage for people who come from a very different culture to do that, or also just to understand it first and to then also act like it, right? Really make that step and do it differently than you would in your own country.
It's really practice. You have to practice it, and I imagine at the start you're really nervous doing it for the first time. It must feel super unnatural.
For me, it was so hard. Like in the school, like at the end of the lecture, or sometimes in the middle of the lecture, I see one student, a Dutch student, standing up, telling the teacher, like in university, "Yo, teacher, this is actually wrong. And actually, we don't want this, homework at this time because we have exam." I'm like, look at them. What? Can you just talk to your teacher like this? Yo, what's going on? And the teacher, okay. What's your preferred, schedule? I'm like, what is going on?
Where am I here?
Exactly. And then, just fine. And then the teacher just tells you. But actually, to be honest, I had one teacher. He takes everything personally. So you cannot be smart person and trying to give him like feedback or telling him no. If you say no, you're gonna come here the next year. See you later.
Well, that's why it's good that university is supposed to also have like these evaluation forms at the end of a course, which are anonymous. So you can still give your criticism, but your teacher won't be able to look down on you.
I think that's a good one. And of course, everything is like, if we say, it's normal here, it's not for every single person, but in general, what you can see and like what you hear from people, right? But so we've been saying it's like more of an informal culture, and it's like more direct. I mean, is it also okay though to negotiate your salary or ask for a raise?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's common and it's super scary. And it's also not that all Dutch people are like, oh yeah, I just walk into a job interview and I'd ask for a ton of money. It's talking about no money is always a little uncomfortable, but Dutch people are a little more open about it. And it's definitely common to bring up the salary question. Often in a job interview, the employer will do it, but if they don't, it's really not strange for you to do it.
Wow.
And if the employer gives a really low number, it's totally also not strange to be like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of surprising. The function entails this and this and this. I really expected that, that's more appropriate for this amount of salary. Because you can find online a lot about what a common salary is for various positions, and that's something you should definitely research before going into a job interview. Also looking at you especially, because you're going to be going into job interviews. Know what you want to be paid.
Well, I have been before, but actually that's true. And especially if you want to ask this question, if the boss didn't, told you, then probably you have to ask it, but at the end. So it's not
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
question.
Don't start with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No.
What's my salary? Yeah, that looks so,
It's a bit like
Yeah.
too much.
it doesn't work. But the thing is also, there is one tip I have learned, and people told me, and actually I found it, like from my family, they told me that try to find the unlisted jobs. The jobs that's not actually listed on every website and not listed on the jobs that actually only for specific people for quality, skills. Because the thing is, those jobs usually they have higher salaries, they have specific tasks to do, but they're way good. Because the reason why not listing these jobs is because they don't want everyone just to throwing CVs on them. They just want exactly the good jobs. So, and having these unlisted jobs can be done by either your network, asking even your teachers in the school, do you have do you suggest, my skill, you know me, you have taught me for like 1 year, do you suggest
Just
a
asking
specific
around,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those jobs I feel they're really great, more than actually the ones that just you can find them online and then
Yeah.
check, okay,
All
this
those
one is
vacancies.
one. Exactly. And then you can really have a long conversation about your salary because it's unlisted. There is no rule for it.
What I've heard is to not talk about salary in the first job interview, but then maybe after or in the second one.
It differs a lot, to be honest. Some companies really have a very, especially bigger companies, have a really formalized way in how they do the job interviews, where they have like a first introductory interview that's only about you as a person. They just want to see, who are you? Would you match our team at all?
True.
And then the second one would be something like, okay, and what about the job? What would you do in this situation in the job? And often it includes an assessment where they see, okay, what's your level? What would you actually do in this case study or whatever?
Yeah.
And there, in that case, you wouldn't discuss the salary in the first conversation, but sometimes there is only one conversation where they go through the whole thing.
Exactly.
So you want to basically come to a job interview with everything prepared, knowing what you want to be paid and knowing answers to questions about yourself, but also about your job history, about how you would do that job, and then see what happens. You can ask, of course, beforehand, like, hey, I want to prepare properly. What will we be talking about in the first conversation? But it can go places, and it really differs per company what will be discussed during these conversations.
Yeah.
Let's imagine you had a job interview, and then they tell you, we're gonna let you know, and then he does not hear anything for 3 weeks. Is it appropriate for him to then ask again or call or email?
I would angrily call after a week. No, I wouldn't. But I would definitely call them after a week already. Yeah. Well, if they
After a
haven't,
week already?
Yeah, if they haven't mentioned a date by which they would let me know.
Exactly.
Then I would call them after a week and be like, hey, we had such a great conversation last week.
I actually feel something. Usually, if they tell you we're gonna call you, then you're gonna know it's not. Most of the time.
Well,
not
yeah,
always.
if they don't say when they're going to call you, it's like, we'll
they
call
probably
you.
should give one extra tip with it. Then okay, either because we liked you, or either they're gonna say, okay, on next week we're gonna call you, or next week visit us. Then okay. But usually, if they tell you we're gonna call you, see you later. Yeah, don't put high standard that they're gonna call you. Yeah.
And it's good when they finally call you and they
show you passion. I want this job because I need it and I love it.
Well, we'll say they call you and you get rejected, to ask them why.
Yeah.
And really, you don't need to get angry about it, but ask them why. And it will most of the time be, there was a better candidate. It wasn't you. There wasn't something you could have done better during the interview.
Yeah.
There was just somebody else who had half a year more work experience in a really specific field that was related to the job. It's really unfortunate because it means that you cannot change super much about what you're doing, but it's also, it gives hope because, the next time you're going to be the person who has that little more job experience or that more specific thesis that related to the job or whatever. So definitely ask. What was it that made you not choose for me for this job?
And also don't feel sad if you it's fine to apply for 7 or 10 times and then you get accepted in one. It's not like the first one gonna be the one.
Even more.
Even if you have PhD and you're completely you have everything and then you apply for 5 companies and they say good luck.
Sometimes
so it's completely fine.
Yeah, sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're just not, and sometimes it takes months to find something, right?
True.
And that's really common, not just for internationals, also for Dutch people. Yeah. And it can be that you have a great CV, but you're just unlucky that every time there was somebody else who had something extra that worked better for that specific position. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Talking about CV, are there any tips you could give internationals on how a CV is expected to look like in the Netherlands?
Yeah, definitely. You want to keep it short, so I wouldn't go over one page. And kind of depending on the job, you should change the CV a little bit. It should, of course, not. You shouldn't put things on there that aren't true.
Yeah.
But if there's a job in a specific field versus another field, and you've done your study
That's true.
there,
That's
but
true.
you've done like volunteer work and something completely unrelated, then put your study at the top. So make sure that they first see the thing that's most relevant for the job.
Exactly.
And then the rest. I've heard different stories of what recruiters like, whether there's a picture added or not. It can go both ways.
Yeah.
You can, again, let it depend on the type of job that you're applying for. Like you definitely want to tailor your whole application to the job. So what I see a lot of lazy Dutch people do is they use the same application letter and they just replace the company. And the rest is all like,
Yeah.
I'm really motivated for this job. But you really
have to
want
say
to tailor
why.
everything.
Yeah.
Not just that, you really want to talk about the company and their values and what attracts you to that company and those values. And so it's both the letter that you have to make sure that they can see, because they all know if it's a copy paste. They notice.
They always
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. And the same with your CV. You want to make sure that you've tweaked it in such a way that it looks most appealing to whoever is hiring for that specific job. Yeah.
I agree totally. I have nothing to add.
Yeah, I think they really want to see that you know the company, that you spent some time
Exactly.
doing your own research.
Because you're expecting them to look at your CV and your
Exactly.
letter. So
Yeah.
Like, why
they
us?
want to know.
Why you chose us. It's not like because you have skill. Why you chose us?
Yeah.
We are this
Exactly.
company and our goal is this.
Yeah.
What is your skill, related to this goal? What you can add to this goal, to the value of the company? That's true.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
very much
yeah.
about you, like the match between you and the company.
Yeah.
And
I actually, one thing I found that some students made a mistake. I actually did it once. Is that, for example, as you said before, if you apply your CV, so you need to put the skills that related to this job. But some of them, they put everything they have done. So like, I have worked in a restaurant. Yeah, but this job is related to psychology. Working in a restaurant, a side job is
Not relevant.
Not gonna add really to this job. So don't add it. Or like saying, I have a certificate in communication. Yeah, but okay, it depends on, you might working with machines. What's this gonna really be related to you? So it depends exactly on the company that you're applying to.
yeah,
Has to
and
be
it can be
related.
that you had like 4 different jobs, and I will always, if I apply to a job, I will only put on the things that I think
Yeah.
this is relevant and this will make me look stronger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
leave other things out then?
If something
Not important things.
exactly what you said, a restaurant job will not make you look better for a psychology job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if you would have to like squeeze everything together to make sure that your
Yeah.
whole work history fits, don't.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can say it in the interview if they ask you what did you do before. That's
yeah,
fine.
for sure.
But
And you
not
can
in the
mention
CV.
it in the letter as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
imagine that they look both at your CV and at the letter. And in the letter, you can explain,
Yeah.
what you got out of those jobs.
Exactly.
And they can see the exact jobs and
Yeah.
study, etc. on the CV. Like, they have both of them. That's
Yeah.
another thing I often see is that the CV and the letter are very similar. Like, the letter
But they
is
should-
just like
yeah.
a paragraph version, a story version of the CV. But they already have your CV, so it shouldn't just be repetition.
They should kind of complement each other, right?
Exactly.
Because I feel like HR people, they really don't want to look at a CV that is full packed with all types of like information,
yeah.
like that it would take them 10 minutes to figure out where to start.
And they won't. Like they'll glance at it. Imagine that they'll take 10 seconds to go over your CV, because for every job that you apply for, there will be a ton of other people. And in the first selection, you don't want to drop out. So
Exactly.
make sure that the few things that if they have 10 seconds to look at your CV, what do they see? And make sure that you've put that stuff on top that you really want them to see.
Simple
good
and
one.
clear.
Exactly.
Always, yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. That's a good tip. Good tips, actually.
Yeah, right? Yeah, definitely. But what are some of the websites that people can go to find more information or even to find vacancies?
Make it in the north.nl. You've heard me say it before.
It's an ad by Make a North.
Sponsored by. No, it's a really great project that comes from the initiative is by a bunch of different organizations and companies in the Northern Netherlands. Het Akkoord van Groningen, de Koninklijke Metaalunie, a bunch more, the Welcome Center, and all of these together said, look, we have companies. They have jobs. They
Yes.
cannot find the people for these jobs.
Yeah,
We have
help
these
you.
internationals. They want jobs. They cannot find the jobs because all of them are in Dutch. Like a company will say, like, hey, yeah, sure, we're interested in hiring internationals, and their job vacancies page is in English. But then you click on the job, and it's in Dutch, and you're like, yeah, but the job is in Dutch. an international who doesn't speak Dutch will not apply, obviously,
Exactly.
Yeah.
to this job.
Yeah.
Oh, but they are welcome to. Yeah, but they won't. So there's this disconnect, and Make It in the North wants to make sure that that's where they come together. That's where they find each other. So that's where you're sure that the jobs you find on there you can apply to, and you have an equal chance to a Dutchie who's also applying there.
Yes.
And so that's specifically for jobs in Northern Netherlands, so in Groningen, Friesland, and Drenthe, and that's also, of course, what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
We're going to add more and more tips there as well about CV checking, about like checklist things that you can look at when
Yeah.
you are building your CV.
That's definitely helpful, I think, for many people.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have career events where there's webinars always about how to build the perfect CV. We're very lucky to work with a whole bunch of different partners in the Northern Netherlands who can always help people one-on-one to make their CV better. And it's more and more common for people to get a career coach or a job coach who can help you tailor your CV to different jobs, to be sensitive for, okay, how do I make my CV look the best possible way for this specific
this
job?
job, yeah.
Actually, I have attended one of those events of yours, I think. Beginning
Very
of this
good.
year, it was something called with from Make It in the North with the digital career. Or so.
It was
super
focused
helpful.
on the digital sector.
Yeah,
So it had all the jobs
There were a lot of
that were digital.
a lot of digital focused
Online
companies,
stuff. Yeah,
and that was really nice to get in touch with people. So very nice. I can recommend it. Yeah.
And does also make It in the North hire any type of job? Doesn't matter, or specific?
Anything
Okay,
from
that's
all
great.
side
industries.
jobs to full senior positions. Because of course, we're young people, and we're kind of focusing on students who are finishing their studies and who will then start to look for jobs. But there's way more internationals here. We have a lot of people who come in, for instance, because they do a PhD here,
Yes.
who come in from abroad, and they bring a partner along with them. And sometimes the partner already has 5 years work experience. They just don't speak Dutch, but they're they're somebody with work experience. That's somebody who you also want to be able to offer a job. So Make It in the North is also there to match people at that level.
That's actually a pretty nice thing, I believe. It's going to help a lot of students,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can feel that.
Yeah, and then because I've been looking for an internship in the Netherlands, and I've been using those vacancy platforms like what were they called, Monster Board or something, and then there's others, right? But also LinkedIn has some.
Yeah, like Indeed and LinkedIn.
Indeed, yeah,
Indeed
exactly
as well,
that
I
one.
believe.
Yeah.
LinkedIn also is a great way, especially if you have a good network and good friends.
But then you also have to have a good LinkedIn profile.
That's another story.
It's important here in the Netherlands, right? To,
It's so important.
I feel for Dutch. I mean, for many people, like LinkedIn is literally same as your CV. The same work that you put in your CV, you have to put in a LinkedIn.
Even more, because you have to It's a great way to build your network, and it's a great way to maintain contact with what's happening in your field, in the place where you want to work. So these career events, such as Meet Your Future in the Digital World, which you were at, which Make It in the North works with, these events are there so you can expand your network, so you can get to know people, companies in the North who work in your field.
Exactly.
And then, if you go to LinkedIn once a week, you see what's happening. What are these companies doing? You will see the jobs that they have before they're placed anywhere else.
Exactly, unlisted immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah, super important.
Something very
it's I cannot overstate how important networking is in the Netherlands compared to other countries. Oftentimes, the one time you miss that job, it may not even be because the other person was better, but they got a personal recommendation. And this is not in a corrupt kind of way, but somebody vouched for them. Somebody said, oh yeah, we worked with them before and they were really great. We can really recommend them.
Yeah.
Of course it makes a difference.
Of course that makes a difference.
And you see a lot of these examples in LinkedIn, like when you go over for profile, you see a lot of people commenting on your profile. Oh, I have worked with him, for example, in designing this game, and he's really great, or she is amazing. She can organize big events and everything. Those things gonna, add really a lot of value to the people who they're searching for, for new workers.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of internationals coming here without any contact here. So where do they start? Like, how do they start building their network?
At career events and at university.
So just by talking to people at such events.
Yeah, so career events are definitely the best way. The university often organizes them for their own faculty.
Yes,
Make It in the North organizes them. I know Campus Groningen organizes them. So Zernike. There's lots of different organizations that have small events, but there's also these big events. And these are the moments that you need to make use of, so that you can add HR people and
Yes.
recruiters directly on your LinkedIn, because those are, of course, the people who would know about the jobs that are
Yes.
coming up. But it's also really good to, for instance, add your teachers and
Exactly.
add your classmates, because if your classmates finds a job somewhere,
They can suggest you.
you have an in. You somebody who you know works at that company, and if you would apply, you can say, "Hey, yo," or if you see a job there and you want to know, is that really a nice company? You can ask them.
Yeah.
Because you already know somebody who
Yeah.
works there.
Especially the teachers, because they are teaching in the same field that you're studying, which means, and also they know you very well, so they can know, okay, your skill can fit this job, and this company is really great.
And maybe
So I
they,
see-
maybe they
Exactly.
would connect you.
Yeah, and they can even sometimes give you jobs. I've seen that a lot. They
Yeah?
can give you offer you some jobs that's not even available for everyone.
Oh,
so like
wow.
they know, for example, a person
They know
working
before they go online,
the company,
yeah.
okay, there is a job that's gonna come on, and it has this specific task. Can you do it? And you're like, yeah, I like it, and the company's pretty nice, salary is good. Then you just got a job.
Wow.
Without nothing.
Has it happened to friends of yours?
Yes, I've seen it in my eyes.
Wow, that's
it's
so cool.
It's
He
like,
cannot wait to be finished with his studies. He's
I
like,
am-
I'm waiting for this moment.
He's like, I'm gonna get those jobs.
Yeah, I feel like, after, like, especially now with the Make in the North, and there are a lot of opportunities. You just need to take it and be, innovative. Just go. Go and ask and search and write your CV. Don't just sit home and wait for the opportunity. That's the main thing.
No.
I know we are all tired of Corona and everything, but we gotta do it.
Yeah, definitely. Coming back to LinkedIn profiles, what are some things that a profile has to have, and what are some things that you should not do on your profile or not put on in your profile?
Yeah, so you can exactly like you said, your LinkedIn profile is your CV. It's just more alive. So you want to make sure that it's well updated. Really make sure you have a good photo, because that immediately shows that you're serious about looking for a job, that you're serious about networking.
What
and
does
if you
a
have
good
kind of
photo
like
look like?
Well, if it's like shitty quality, it's really dark,
It's not like Snapchat photo.
it's got
Without
a crazy
filters.
filter. I mean, it depends on the type of job that you're looking for. If you want to work for some crazy art collective,
Yeah.
then it's probably
Yeah.
good to have
Yeah.
a photo that matches that. But if you're looking widely, you're applying to lots of different types of jobs, it's good to have like kind of a neutral photo that's not too crazy, that's not you naked on the beach, depending on the type of job that you're looking for. But yeah, be aware at least. Think about the kind of photo that you put out there, because that's the only thing that people see about you. That's the thing they see
Yeah.
about you
Yeah,
first.
the first
That's
thing.
like the kind of image they have of you too.
Exactly, yeah. And then the rest of your profile, you can enter all of the different positions that you've had. And I really recommend also describing what your responsibilities were in those positions. So don't just be like, oh, I was a community manager at company. Add what did you do?
What did you do?
Were there projects that you did? Then you can add projects. You can add people that you worked with on those projects. Definitely also add voluntary work. Add like
Yes.
your CV is kind of the perfect shortened version, the showcase version, but your LinkedIn can have everything.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
can be more extensive.
Your LinkedIn can be more extensive. If you can put your LinkedIn in multiple languages, most internationals speak multiple languages. You speak your home country language and you speak English.
Yeah.
Put it in both of those languages and keep it updated in both of those languages, and make sure that your tagline is something recent. I know that some people are like desperately looking for a job, but their tagline is still like student at Hanze University.
Yes.
Add in your tagline what kind of job you're looking for. Looking
Yeah.
for a community manager job or whatever.
And also on LinkedIn, there's this feature where you can put like onto your picture this hashtag open to work thing.
Yep, exactly.
I think that's also a good thing.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
also
and
true.
you can, once you've kind of built your network on LinkedIn, what's really great is you could make a post about what kind of job you're looking for, and you can ask these people, yo, can you share this for me, please? And, oh yeah, what I wanted to say from earlier, you said like, okay, yeah, there's classmates of mine, friends of mine who found a job through a teacher because a teacher knew that a job was coming on.
Yeah.
What's also really great to ask in your network, if you see a job somewhere and you see the recruiter or the HR manager or whatever of that company, and you see that you're like a second connection, and maybe your teacher or somebody else that you know is a first, ask them to introduce you to them. Ask like, hey, or ask, can I use your name when I add this person, and say like, hey, I found you through my teacher, I found you through, and I'm super interested in this job, blah, 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 blah. Even if you do not get that job, then you have them in your network, and again, you've
Exactly.
expanded your network,
That's how
which
it
is
works. And
also
actually,
convenient.
yeah, that gives you a lot of high chance to get the job when you do this. By if someone is actually suggesting you to a specific company, that gives you a really high chance than others.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Indeed.
Yeah, Dutch
Definitely.
people really appreciate it when people take initiative. And some, because in Dutch culture, people are pretty direct. It's really easy to be left out, not because you were less quality or your CV was less full, but somebody else was more aggressive. Somebody else
Yeah.
took more initiative to connect with different colleagues at that company or whatever. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
show
like,
yourself, be proud of yourself.
Yeah, you have to really pitch yourself and tell them
Yes.
what you can give them, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend, and that's a very inspiring story, I think.
Nice.
He's been looking for an internship, and he sent out several applications. And then for one company he was really interested in, he already looked at what they would need and kind of like prepared something to show them, so that he can really showcase what he can give them.
Yeah, awesome.
And that led to him being chosen out of like a lot of like candidates.
That's nice.
So
That's nice.
that's really important. And I think in the beginning, of course, it's hard to be confident in what you can offer to the company and
Yes.
in doing all of this. But I think also with every application, you get a little bit better.
Exactly, improve step by step. I remember my first interview was like, oh, hell. Like I can
Difficult?
I can totally understand why they didn't hire me. I can even imagine. Yeah, but it's like even when you learn a lot, you watch webinars, you attend lectures, whatever is it. Still, practicing this is different than reading or listening or watching, but theoretically. Practicing this is way different. So just go and find a job. If
Just
you
do
don't
it.
find the first one, another interview. If you don't, third, fourth, forever. Yeah, my first one was literally a nightmare.
It's
I
a
don't-
tip I heard several times. Like, don't apply for your dream job as your first job.
Yeah.
Like, apply for a shittier job first, because then you can
Practice.
make all the first mistakes in a job interview of a
Yeah.
job that you don't really care about. But that's also just a tip in general. Don't wait for your dream job to come by. There's very, very few people whose first job was their dream job.
Yeah.
And in the Netherlands, it's not very uncommon that you can kind of tweak your job once you're working at a company and you say like, oh, I like these tasks better than others.
Oh,
You can
okay.
signal this to your manager, and often it's possible, that you do more the work that you like better, so that your function maybe shifts
Oh.
a little bit, so
Exactly.
that
Yeah,
you can
yeah, that's
create
true.
the job
That's very
that
flexible,
you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
It's not possible everywhere, but
Depends.
it's one of those things where if you take the initiative and you indicate this and you ask for
Yeah.
this in a polite way and in an enthusiastic way, then there's not a downside to it,
Yeah,
unless
there's
you're
nothing
like,
to lose.
I hate this side of my job, I only want to do this. Of course, then that's not
Exactly.
great. But if you're like, I love this part so much, I would love to do more of this. Is there opportunity for that?
Yeah.
Of course.
More than it's like you also have to show your confidence that okay, if I'm gonna take this another task, I'm gonna give you more. I'm gonna
Exactly,
show
yeah.
you something better. Okay, then they're gonna be okay. He's so confident about
Yeah,
what he's
yeah,
doing
yeah.
and he can show this, but let's try him out. And
Yeah.
you're not gonna lose anything. You're gonna be in the first job that you already applied, so you're not gonna be kicked out just because you change your task.
No,
in the
no.
same company.
And asking is always fine. And if it doesn't work out, then well, you at least
No hard
tried.
feelings.
No hard
Yeah.
Yeah,
feelings.
exactly.
As long as you don't have hard feelings. And
Yeah.
You give the
Don't take
stinky eye
things
to the
personal.
manager every
Yeah.
time when they said no.
Yeah,
Criticizing your boss. Okay.
yeah. I think this whole process just takes a lot of courage, but I think with your tips that you gave and also your experiences so far,
Thank you.
we talked a lot
Very
about
basic.
a lot of things to definitely, consider, and a lot of things to not do. And I thank you two very much for being here today.
Oh,
Thank you.
And
you
we
too,
have
Allah.
a little thank you gift for
Oh,
you.
here we go.
Oh, she
Goodie bags.
Nice.
Goodie bags here for you too.
Hot.
There you go.
Hot. It's cold, hot. Groningen.
Beautiful. Very good.
Yeah,
very
it's
good.
from Marketing Groningen.
Foxhole.
Okay, I'm gonna translate this later. Oh wait, Groningen, er gaat niets
Boven Groningen.
What does it mean? Do you know
nothing
what?
above Groningen.
Oh,
I guess
very
something like that.
good.
Okay.
Nothing better than
Yeah.
Groningen.
Awesome.
Well, that's actually true. It's the best city ever. It's the best city even to start your career if you want. It's.
And to finish your career.
well,
I mean, when you're old and happy in
To
life, not
retire.
I
after
don't know
1 year. To retire.
I didn't
well-
reach 67 yet, so I don't know. We will see in the
There's still a
future.
few years to get
Yeah,
there.
there is still.
But we're going to put all of the tips, the awesome tips we got, into the podcast description. And if you also have some tips, some website you used, or if you want to share your story, you can also share it in the comments, of course.
Yeah.
And on that note, I say bye and good luck with planning your future.
Bye.
Bye.
Very good. Thanks, man. Sorry for forgetting the mic. Okay, man. It was good.